still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man? They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White, yeah. 7 dwarfs. It makes no sense to me.
A few moments later.
Disney had the great opportunity to cast people like very talented actresses like ourselves.
Yeah, I've been in the entertainment game for 20 years.
That's 7 roles right there.
Yeah.
7 little people that could have filled those roles, and unfortunately, you know, we were shut out of that.
We're trying to get an Oscar too. What's up?
So if you clicked on this video, you know Disney is remaking Snow White to a live-action movie, and you should also know it's likely going to bomb at the box office. Now, for those of you who don't know Snow White, she's a white woman with skin as light as snow. She is saved by Prince Charming after she eats a poison apple. 7 dwarfs come and save her, and they live happily ever after. Now, the movie is extremely simple, and if Disney would have just kept to the script, then Snow White live action would have been wonderful, just like Beauty and the Beast was. That film was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Well, we come now to the final award of the evening, the one for Best Picture. And here are the nominees for the Best Picture. Beauty and the Beast, Don Hahn, producer.
Now, the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast didn't stray too far away from the source material, and it did exceptionally well at the box office.
It was a record-breaking weekend for Beauty and the Beast. The live-action remake raked in $170 million, making it the 7th biggest domestic box office opening of all time.
There goes the baker with his tray like full waves.
It's also the biggest opening weekend for any G-rated movie. And here's what the critics had to say. Time magazine calls Beauty and the Beast resplendent, and the New York Times declares it revels in joy and enchantment, although not everyone loved the film. The Hollywood Reporter calls it a little bland, almost instantly forgettable. Regardless, the film is a box office smash.
This film will definitely go down in history as a classic, and definitely huge numbers. Analysts are expecting it might even hit the $1 billion mark.
Now, Beauty and the Beast was nowhere as popular as Snow White. So a Snow White live-action remake, just follow the formula, made sense. But we live in a totally different world. We live in the woke world. So with that being said, Disney started implementing a lot of changes to the traditional Snow White to make it fit a woke world. So one of the new rules in our woke world is that if a character is traditionally a black character, that character must be played by another black person. You can't switch that character out for a white person. You can't put a Latina in there. It has to be played by a black person. Now, conversely, if the character was traditionally white, you can race swap them all you want. So Snow White, who happened to be a white woman, you can swap her out for a black woman, or you can swap her out for a Latina woman. You can't do it in reverse. It can only be from white to something else. Now, Disney has implemented this before. The Little Mermaid, for instance, was race swapped from a white woman to a black woman.
Hey, I have the perfect idea. Okay, talk to me. Let's make the Little Mermaid black. Oh my God, why didn't we think of this sooner? Yes, but wait. Let's not just stop there. Let's make live action Snow White black. We'll call her Black Ice. That could work.
Now, unfortunately, the Little Mermaid race swap didn't work, and it tanked at the box office.
You could see the writing on the wall a million miles away when it came to Disney's race swap live action version of The Little Mermaid. All of the attacks on the fan base, all the excuses were popping up months before this thing even got released. With Halle Bailey as Ariel, you knew that in all likelihood Disney could feel this was about to be a problem, that this was going to be a disappointment at the box office. Well, it changed from a disappointment at the box office, not breaking $1 billion like so many of these other live-action movies, into a colossal disaster. A movie with a reported budget of $250 million, a marketing budget of $150 million, and a break-even point of around $750 million. And when it was all said and done at the box office, they couldn't even crack $600 million. You had so many people in the media running cover for them, trying to spin things, trying to explain things away. But it was a massive loser at the box office. It was a flop. There's no other way around that.
So after that flop, Disney scratched his head and said, hey, let's do it again. This time, let's not do The Little Mermaid. Let's take Snow White and race swap her.
West Side Story breakout star Rachel Zegler is cast as Snow White in the live-action remake.
Tonight.
They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
I'm a really big Disney fan. I grew up at the Disney parks. My parents took me every summer. It's like, it's part of my upbringing. It's my favorite thing, so.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Never revisited Snow White again. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Now, as you see, they race swap Snow White. They're changing it from a love story to something else. So this is not really feeling like Snow White. But then they went the next level. It's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but we live in a woke world, and some people have a problem with casting seven dwarfs.
Disney's decision to remake the 1930s classic Snow White is coming under fire. Actor Peter Dinklage, known for his Emmy-winning role on Game of Thrones, calls it a backward step for little people on Mark Maron's podcast.
You're still making that backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
Now, this was after actor Peter Dinklage, who happens to be a dwarf, complained that, hey, the portrayal of dwarfs in Snow White is not up to modern expectations. So Disney made the decision to not go with seven dwarfs or seven little people to play those dwarfs. It decided to get rid of the dwarfs altogether and just have seven racially mixed people of different heights, colors, and creeds walk around and follow Snow White. Matter of fact, here's what Disney said.
Disney put out the perfect statement. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these seven characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. Sadly, those members of the dwarfism community have not been cast in the film about dwarfs because they're dwarfs.
So now, lo and behold, with these new and improved dwarfs, there was even more backlash. It was like, what the hell are you doing? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not Snow White and the Woke Parade.
The DEI forces have descended on the Seven Dwarfs around Snow White in Disney's latest offering. Now there's only one dwarf and like a bunch of DEI boxes checked behind the one dwarf because they don't want to offend little people, so they had to eliminate their jobs, I guess. And Snow White herself is not white, so everybody's been racialized to check every box they can, except for all the dwarf boxes because they're offensive. I guess you can only have the one dwarf. That's not offensive, but the six more would have been.
So then Disney went back to the drawing board again and said, okay, we can't hire dwarfs because that's a problem. We can't hire regular people to play dwarfs because that's dwarf appropriation. So what can we do? Let's just do CGI generated dwarfs and end this madness. So that's what they did.
Disney is pushing back the release of its Snow White live-action movie until 2025, a move that conservatives attribute to the movie's giant attempts to be woke. Conservative critics pointed out Disney's rendition initially cast diverse men and women instead of dwarves to play the entourage of Snow White, but since scrapped that idea in favor of CGI dwarves. Now, the studio says Disney's Snow White has been delayed a whole year because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, which forced studios to reshuffle their release schedule.
So you would think the dwarf problem is solved, but no, it's not. A couple of weeks before the film, now the dwarf community is out and they are outraged that Disney didn't hire 7 real people and give them 7 real roles in the movie, but had CGI dwarfs.
Hey, how are you? Hey, Ali, how you doing?
Hi.
Good.
Yeah,
I want to ask you, about the new Snow White live film that's coming out. Been getting a lot of backlash, Can I ask you what you think about that?
Oh, well, this is a movie, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. It's a movie that is supposed to have real dwarves, and instead Disney chose to use CGI to replace actors and actresses that are little people that are very talented.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Ali. You look up the original Snow White. The dwarves are the stars of the movie.
A lot of people are saying they're going to hate watch the film. They're going to watch it just so they can hate on it. Do you think that people should still go see the film? Or do you think
everyone should go see the film, but it's it's about equality.
All little people, dude, there's a lot of little people out there that are freaking actors and actresses that love to have parts in, this kind of movie. And, and everyone's trying to get their dreams come true. And it just seems like we're getting our dreams shut out, by Disney and Hollywood in the industry.
Disney had the great opportunity to cast people like very talented actresses like ourselves.
Yeah, we've been in the entertainment game for 20 years.
That's 7 roles right there.
Yeah.
7 little people that could have filled those roles, and unfortunately, we were shut out of that.
We're trying to get an Oscar too. What's up? Damn.
So moving forward, Disney and all other studios should, take the message that everyone should include.
Yeah. Take notes, for all the future, producers and stuff that. Let's not go in the direction of CGI. Let's instead, let's cast people that deserve to be in those roles, especially when it's for little people.
Human beings.
That was made for us.
So a famous little person said Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs were offensive to little people. Now you got little people saying, hey, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs was a movie made for dwarfs, and we're 7 actors, and now we're unemployed because these idiots at Disney didn't give us those 7 dwarf jobs. This is what I'm talking about. You can't please everybody. Disney's trying to please everybody, and now it's pleased no one. And my prediction for Snow White is that it will bomb heavily. This movie is going to tank. There is no doubt about it. I just hope it doesn't destroy these people's careers, because it looks like that's where they're going. And the weird part about this is that Disney knows how to make very, very good movies. We've all seen them. But in this particular instance, they've tried to push the message to the point where it's now absurd. As always, tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Say, Nate, hey, you're a bigot. You should be loving the fact that they're race swiping all the characters. You should love the fact that they made James Bond from a international sex symbol spy who's banging every chick you find to a black woman, right? That should make you happy. That's diversity. I'm sorry, people. That's lunacy. Let's get back to some common sense. If you like what you heard, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you're at the end of the video, and if you're hearing my voice now, that's what you need to do if you want to hear more of these videos. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm out. Peace.